what people jump to is I have to do something about this. And then you've left the feeling. And what I've experienced over and over again is if I let myself feel and follow, that is, sense into it, expand into it, breathe with it, let my body move with it. Mm-hmm. If I let myself do that fully, the expression comes very organically.
Well, hello, Katie. You look gorgeous in this color.
Oh, thank you so much. I was just thinking the same thing about you, Soph. I love the lines and the elegance and really how your beauty comes forward in this particular outfit. So, yum.
Thank you. I was actually, look at the sleeve. It has this like really fun.
I know it has a kind of a, it's animal, human, little combo there. Yeah.
Yeah. I love our second of fashion every show. I like that a lot.
Well, I think that's very important for the people who are not watching us. You're missing out.
Go to YouTube and watch it. your little not lesson in fashion, sharing in fashion.
Yes.
So something happened this weekend that I was really curious to hear your take about it, because I have lost a good amount of weight. And so I saw these people this weekend that I hadn't seen me in a while. So there were a couple comments. And one of them was, how did you do it? Kind of wanted to get the recipe of what I did. And I tapped into the fact that it's boiled down. Yes, the food matters, but what came to me as so clearly was my feelings, that I've learned to feel my feelings. And when I'm sad, I'm sad. And when I'm upset, I'm upset. And I was really curious to bring that up to us, because I'd like to hear, first of all, does that resonate for you in your journey, that really this ability to feel our feelings? Does that really have much to do with this weight loss or this?
Well, I actually think feeling our feelings is central to almost everything. And, when I'm interacting with people or, just, meeting somebody or I'm teaching a class, I realize that at the root of so many conflicts is the inability to, one, notice that you're having a feeling.
Yeah.
That feeling is occurring. And then two, actually giving attention to it rather than running away or putting it on the other person and all of the things we do to avoid actually feeling our feelings. And then the skill that has made the most difference for me is being able to follow my feelings. Because there's almost never about what it first appears to be, but as I'm following the sensations in my body and I'm opening up to those, I go, oh, that was what that was about. Oh, that was it. And so absolutely, I think feeling your feelings, the thing was just occurring to me is how many people that I've worked with that have had weight issues of one sort or another have eaten their feelings.
Yeah. So let's start there. Why I relate entirely. So I'm not asking I'm asking why as I was growing up, or why did it make more sense to down food than to feel what was happening? Where does that choice even start? What is it?
Well, my sense is, because I'm looking at you, that you have a very exquisite energy system. That you're aware and open. Like when I first met you, were one of the most open people I've ever met, just open to life. And you let life in. And then there's a lot to deal with. And if you don't know how to do that, because as kids, we don't really have that facility yet of being able to recognize, oh, that's a thought, oh, that's a feeling. And then other people, I think, are scared of people who are open to receiving, open to the flow of life and the flow of energy and, having different storms come through. Because I literally have met people who, I'm sobbing and they're going what happened here? There's nothing to be.
They're not letting it. Yeah. They're not letting it in.
Yeah. And I think most people, it's what, my mother used to say, oh, you're too sensitive. You're just too sensitive, as if I could do something about that.
And if it's a bad thing.
Yeah, and it's a bad thing. And that, I should be thicker skinned. And, how does one do that? So my sense is if you had a guardian angel, you had somebody go, oh, Sophie, it looks like there's a feeling going on. What's going on? I'll be with you. Can we talk about that? What is, yeah, exactly. The getting that amount of attention also, I think for me, it was really scary. And there were also feelings in my family, like my dad was really, really angry, but nobody ever really called it like, you're really angry. What's going on? But everybody tiptoed around him and he got to be angry. But if we were angry kids, we had to go to our rooms.
Yes.
Until we could, be nice.
Yes. Yeah. Time out.
Yeah, timeout. I
always joke like we should
get a timeout. So
exactly, the parents should get a timeout, not necessarily.
Yeah, so me that was totally unfair, and I also got like, oh, there are different rules here.
Oh yes,
and so it's not safe for me to actually let them know I'm having the feeling because it's not going to be received.
So is that why we get scared then? The thing happens and that's what happened to your father probably. Like his anger was probably not welcomed as a child either, right? Like he probably.
Oh, in fact, there's in psychology they say that arthritis has most to do with unexpressed anger, and both of his parents had debilitating arthritis. I mean, they could hardly move, and so my sense is that back in the day, and still some now, having feelings is considered just a little bit. It's like talking about sex in public.
Yeah.
You're supposed to sort of keep it to yourself. You're supposed to be able to handle it. And it somehow means there's something wrong with you if you let yourself feel. Like I saw this in business a lot when I was doing business consulting, is that you were supposed to leave your feelings at the door, which is just insane.
That's like leaving your eyes. Leave your eyes at the door.
Yeah. In fact, I used to sometimes have people actually tie one arm to their side. To
so
tie their arm and then just go through the day and see. That's what it's like if you don't let yourself have your feelings.
So I'm assuming most adults are going to be listening, to these conversations as not necessarily children. So as an adult who's maybe has been packing their feelings for a long time, how does one? Because my experience is that people are afraid that if they start feeling, it's going to take them over. Like it's going to be like a tsunami. Might as well keep it down in there. Keep it down.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a very common fear. Like if I cry, I'm just going to be crying forever.
Right.
And if I get angry, I'm going to just destroy everything. I'm going to go Hulk on everything, and or fire dragon, breathe everything, and obliterate everything. And my sense is that that's a result of stored up feeling that hasn't been able to be experienced and expressed. And so a lot when I'm first with somebody and I can see that there's a feeling, I will usually say, oh, I'm noticing that I'm starting to feel a little bit sad, or I'm noticing my breathing changing, and it looks like there's a feeling going on. Is there a feeling going on over there? So I kind of will give an opening rather than go, oh, you're sad there, just, rather than jumping on them. I do my best to create a space in me where they can just be with their feeling. And to me, that's really the most important, not just action, but the most important context is welcoming feelings. And if I'm willing to welcome feelings, then I get so much more of my aliveness, my humanity, and also feelings, I think, are a shortcut to our inheritance from all of the successful humans who preceded us. So a feeling is going to give you the quickest sense of what's going on in any given situation. Like you walk in the door sometimes and you go, oh, something's going on here. And you have that little, and there almost always is something going on. Or you see somebody and you can tell, oh, there's a heaviness. And so we have these, what scientists call these mirror neurons. We're doing this all the time. We tune into each other. And when we deny that, we make these blocks between us so that we're all kind of in our little silos and we can't really just get the nurturance of being with. And I've seen like kids, I was remembering some wonderful parents who were walking down we were having a walk down the street and their little kid was walking in front. He was like about 3 maybe. And he did a face plant. He just tripped and did a face plant. And he was down there and they didn't rush to fix him, or they opened a space and they were just being with him. And he had like a and then they said and they actually didn't even say anything. They just kept breathing, and then he just got up, shook himself off, and off he went.
Oh, so in some ways not giving it attention, but also not denying, like, you fine, like
right,
some
you're
sort
fine.
of like,
nothing happened. There's, stop crying. I'll give you something to cry about.
Oh,
but
God.
it wasn't that they didn't do anything. They were absolutely with him with their attention. I could see that they were giving attention to themselves, so that they were like opening a space. One of the things I notice is that people rush over that.
They panic.
They panic, but they rush to fix it or to say something, rather than just even a couple of breaths to let the feeling be there. I was just thinking about a cork. When you open wine and you let it breathe, you don't just drink it immediately. You let it breathe, and then something happens. And I think it's the same with feelings. If we just have that moment of space of, oh, yeah, something is happening here. I can welcome that.
I'm thinking for that to happen, one has to, for these parents, let's say, I'm imagining that their own inner peace has to be there a bit. Like, I'm wondering where we even start if that's not the case. Like, I'm assuming that if this same situation happens and the parents are more, packed up with their own feelings, maybe, or their fear that their son might really hurt themselves right away without even knowing. Now, that's one of my favorite ones. It's like, wait till you know if you need to do something. Like, wait for a moment, because maybe there really is nothing wrong in this moment other than he went faster. And at this age, that's how you learn to like move your legs a little differently. But to not have a reaction until like, allow yourself to trust that maybe there is no need. If the kid needs to go and be taken to the hospital,
of course,
summon the energy to go do that.
But that pause, that and I in the fear melters that I play with, of shifting from fear to presence, from freeze, that my God, underneath that is literally a pause. If there's that access to just that moment of, which I really call orienting. And I think with feelings, especially, orienting is like, I'm letting myself notice what's going on here. What am I feeling? What's going on? And that can all happen very quickly, like in a couple of breaths. But if we skip that, what tends to happen then is that our feelings retreat.
Right.
They don't go away. They go inside. And I think there's lots of research on this now, that unexpressed feelings are a really big cause of disease.
Yes. Yes. Actually, I heard a long time ago, but I'm playing with it lately. When people say, I'm fine, that it actually spells feelings inside non-expressed.
Ooh, that's beautiful. Feeling inside, not expressed. And it's so clear too, because especially when they go, I'm fine, like, go away.
Yeah,
like
it's never like, I'm fine.
Fault.
It's like, I'm fine.
You're right. It's also, I'm fine. I mean, there's so many different ways.
Yes.
We could do a whole, we think we could do a whole dialogue on, I'm fine. No, I'm fine. In fact, I remember.
No, really, I'm fine.
I'm fine. I'm fine. Like, back off. I'm fine. It's reflexive also, because when I fell off my bike several years ago, and my bike fell on me and I snapped my hip, and people came running and they said, are you all right? And the first thing I said out my mouth, I'm fine.
Oh.
And then I realized I couldn't stand on my leg. I couldn't stand
you were not
up.
So fine.
So I was fine.
Oh, not so fine. Ambulance, please.
Ambulance, please. And that was really a scene. But the thing that comes to me, I'm so appreciating you landing on this today, because befriending our feelings and
Mm.
befriending the feelings of the people that we care about is such a valuable orientation. It's such a valuable intention, and it pays off big time. That a feeling that's acknowledged then gets to get expressed, and then that energy gets reintegrated into flow and creativity and connection rather than stopping you and disconnecting.
Oh, yes.
Because when a feeling is not acknowledged, it disconnects you and you from the possibility of connecting with others.
Let's take a step back even from that. What is a feel? Like, are there many, many, many different kinds of feelings? Is it something we learn? Is it a skill to feel feelings? Like, let's dig in there a little more.
Well, I was just remembering that several years ago, people did, I don't think it was MRIs, but it was where you can get a color analysis of, they had people's bodies and they were experiencing different feelings. And then you could see how it impacted different parts of their body. And they had all kinds of different, what I wouldn't call necessarily feelings, but a combination of sensations and inner experiences and what emotions are really is body sensations that group together and move together. Like sadness is around your high chest and throat, and a sense of heaviness and constriction, generally a tightening in your throat. And it's about loss. Sadness is often about loss, and it doesn't have to be a person. It could be, the loss of a friendship, or the loss of respect, or the loss of an opportunity. And so that flows up and through the front of your body, whereas sensations in your shoulders and up across your shoulders and your jaw coming up from your back, those are sensations that group together and have over probably thousands of years in our ancestors. And that's where we get our hackles up. And we get, that's anger. And then the butterfly, racy, queasy feeling in our stomach, that's fear. And there's actually research on all of those, of cellular research. So we know now that anger starts between your shoulder blades. And it's a tightening feeling. It's just a tightening. And anger is a natural response to a trespass. And it's wired in. It's like, oh, never mind, that he stepped on my foot. He didn't really mean to. Your body goes, yes, he did mean to, and I'm really mad about it. And if we don't handle that, experience it, express it in some way, it accumulates in our bodies. In fact, there's research that some kinds of headaches, cluster headaches, if you look at what happened 4 hours before that, you'll almost always find a trespass.
4 hours.
It's 4 hours, and then it accumulates. So people get, that
these really
tension
nasty,
headache is almost always about anger. That heaviness that people feel, or constriction in their throats, may be about fear, but it's most often about feeling sad and not letting that through. And the racy, queasy feelings that start around your belly button almost always have to do with fear, but then they all mix up together. And then they're also, like combo feelings, like guilt is a combination, in my experience, is a combination of something that I'm sad about and angry about. And they're all sort of mushed up together. So our feelings are very complex.
And yet the way you're describing them, they could also be very simple. Like it's almost like the breath is pretty complicated, but it really isn't. Like if what seems to make it complicated is we get in the way of them happening. Because now that I've learned, and I do think that a lot of my weight has come off, mostly because now mostly, I don't know what percentage, but certainly a good percentage of it. Because when I'm sad, I don't even breathe through my sad. I'm sad, and I will just feel my sadness, and it doesn't last very long. It really doesn't. Right?
Exactly. That's so brilliant that you say that, because I've seen I've seen people have emotions about, the most horrible kinds of things that have happened to them. And when they actually let themselves be with it, experience it, and express it. So that little combination, which is actually pretty simple, I've never seen even a really, really big emotional thing last more than 20 minutes.
Interesting.
But if you don't let yourself feel it, you can make that 20 minutes last like 20 years.
Like days. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Years. And so back to just to close that loop, do you think that then we've learned to eat over, like, it's funny because the visual is I'm having this feeling, it's living in here,
Yeah.
and then I'm putting food over it. Like I'm like a blanket, like I'm like covering it up.
Right. Yep. You're smothering it, pushing it down. And in fact, people have actually trained people like, suck it up. Suck it up, buddy.
Yeah.
And so we get a lot of training that feelings are dangerous, emotions are dangerous. You got to control them. Whereas befriending feelings is a source of your creativity, your intuition, your ability to assess what's going on much more quickly than if you're just trying to use your thinking brain. It's probably what makes us human more than anything else. Not our opposable hands, not our opposable thumbs, but our big brain, but our ability to feel.
I mean, yes, I'm imagining, because I think I don't have an animal currently, but my memory of having my cats is they really they felt what was happening. It sounds like what's different here is my ability to experiencing it as having it and being able to
Yes.
somehow turn it into an energetic. I think there's more than just the feeling of it. Can you speak to
Yeah,
that?
that's so beautiful. I so appreciate how you're translating this into, what do we do in the moment?
Mm-hmm.
So what people jump to is I have to do something about this. And then you've left the feeling. And what I've experienced over and over again is if I let myself feel and follow, that is, sense into it, expand into it, breathe with it, let my body move with it.
Mm-hmm.
If I let myself do that fully, the expression comes very organically and naturally, like the thing that needs to be done, or the thing that needs to be said, or the action that needs to be taken comes without my having to work on it. And I'm using my whole body intelligence rather than jumping from, something happened there. What do I do about it? Jumping up into my
To fix it.
thinking brain, which is a flee move.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually had the thought the other day, I wonder if most thinking is a flee move.
Mm.
So, I mean, that's a whole other thing that just occurred. But we have so little education, we humans, in how to recognize, be with, follow, get the learning. I was just having the thought, being open to learning from this. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that happened. Wow. I really have this reaction that I didn't expect. You got,
Like a
I just got
curiosity about it.
yeah. And so what was that about? And then I can bring my awareness, but it's really different to get curious about it than it is to try and fix it, or to try to get rid of it, or to try and blame it. And I think that's what people need to take time to learn.
And the way you're speaking of it is particularly resonating for me as well. It's almost like there's a belief that it's wrong, and therefore I feel like I need to do something about it. But it doesn't start from like, don't do something about it, rather change the belief. Because if I believed my breathing, for example, was wrong, every time I take a breath, I'd be like, oh, what just happened? Like I'd be
oh my
like,
God, I did it again.
yes, exactly. And again,
Right.
until I drop dead pretty much. But I'm wondering, so is this a conversation one can have like with oneself? Like, how does someone who's afraid of their feelings, or maybe not familiar with their feelings, or whatever the conditions may be, is it as simple? Can someone just translate it to what I thought it meant? It doesn't mean that. Like, it doesn't mean anything wrong to be sad. Like, can we just accompany? Like, I don't know how I got to knowing that. So, like, how do we accompany ourselves to change what we think about this? Like,
yeah, it's a profound question. And so my first run at this is the just as we would change any other unuseful belief or negative belief, like there's something wrong with me. There's just something wrong with me. And if I don't hide it, everybody's going to find out and they're going to leave me because there is really something basically unlovable about me. And so I continue proving that because that's what I believe.
Yes.
But if I start going, oh, I'm totally lovable, I'm willing to know that I'm totally lovable. So I can change my thoughts, but that system usually takes, dozens, if not hundreds of repetitions. Changing a belief. But when you add your body, you can change that belief much more quickly. And also when you add play with it. So like, tossing a feeling from one place to another, like, I feel angry. Oh, there, I'm going to toss it up there. Oh, here it comes again. You start adding in some element of play, but even just, tossing rather than being, on the inside of it, you can change a belief much more easily if you use your body wisdom than if you're trying to think yourself out of it, because you can only think what you've already thought. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. A thought does not feel as evolutionary, whatever the word would be. Like, it doesn't feel like there's much evolution to a thought when my body, I go from, oh, I'm tense. Oh, wow, I'm not like, there's something where I feel like it can move more globally or holistically if I involve. I mean, it makes sense that it would move more holistically if you engage all of it. Oh, I'm having this thought. Oh, wow, that's triggering this feeling. Oh, let's move with all this and let's see the curiosity of it.
And letting yourself dance. And so even as I'm listening to you, I can hear your awareness moving.
Yeah.
So it's literally moving. So it's not just in your head, your awareness. And we know that our brain exists all through our body now. It's not just in our heads. So, people listening to their guts, et cetera. So when you really welcome your whole body intelligence and just get curious about, what's this about? What's the contributing then? And you give yourself that space. I think for me, that's what's essential. So if I run over that, I literally have run over myself. Yeah. Well, but you don't need to worry because it's going to come around again. So, it's
louder usually.
Louder. Like, what? There's not nowhere. Yeah. So now we have a saying that first the universe tickles you with a feather. Yes. And if you don't respond to that, it comes back with a sledgehammer. And then another analogy that's been so useful for me is that to get the lesson, usually people have to wait till the dump truck backs up to their door and just
then there's no choice.
Yeah, and there's no choice. Here it is, right in your face. But I've learned over the years also to notice things more out, like something is just occurring. It's like more out at the periphery, like It's like a feeling of
something's coming.
Yeah. And well, the other thing that's occurring to me, and we might spend more time with this sometime, is that we have the most, humans have the most, we don't have a very good vocabulary for what's going on inside of us, for our inner landscape, because we're like, I'm okay. Yeah,
I'm fine.
It was kind of weird, but it was all right.
Yeah.
And if someone says, "How are you?" and you go, "Well, I'm fine." Yeah. There's really no information about describing your experience, and I give a lot of attention to that when both for myself, but also when I'm coaching with people to like, what's happening here? What are you noticing? What's that body sensation? And what images come to you when you tune into that body sensation? And is it chunky or is it more smooth? What's the texture? So there are so many ways that we can expand our vocabulary to be able to describe what we're actually experiencing. And not only does that connect us more with us, but it connects us more with others, so that we have that sense of I'm here, I have company. you've experienced this also. I'm not all by myself. This is hard, but I have somebody who's with me while I'm going through it. And that I think makes all the difference, because we think that we have to be able to change our feelings, which is like, that's just nuts. We've got, thousands and thousands and thousands of years of our feelings being a map.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a map to us enjoying our lives more fully and being more fully expressive, creative, collaborative, but also better friends. Better friends to ourselves and better friends to those we care about.
Yeah, it's sounding like some of what you're saying reminds me of good parenting to oneself. It's almost like you're describing what I would have wanted. Pretty sure it didn't occur as a little girl, but I can certainly give it to myself, where someone actually is interested. Like even the line of 2 or 3 seconds you just spend there, what's happening? Like share more, like tell me where you're at. Like I just like my whole body was just like, yes, please, just give me.
Oh yeah. I think
and it took us seconds.
Yeah. And we think it's going to take forever. And it literally only takes a few seconds, a minute to drop into, however I'm feeling is okay. I'm okay. And which goes back to I'm lovable.
Yes.
I'm worthy of having someone give attention to what's going on inside me. And when I've seen really skillful parents deal with an upset with one of their children, there is that space.
Yeah.
There's that creation of like, I'm here and I'm helping to create safety for you while you're learning to navigate the chaos. It's like a thunderstorm sometimes when feelings come through. And if you don't have much experience with thunderstorms, it can be very scary.
Yeah.
But parents just hold a space. And also, I think then experience their own feelings, feel their own feelings. And the child can sense that. Absolutely gets
allowed.
that.
It's allowed. It's not censored.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those that are not, don't have a Katie in their corner, like I do, my blessing, although now you out there can
You do have a Katie in your corner.
Exactly. You do have a Katie in your corner. But I'm thinking that this quality you even described that we can have with our children, which is an obvious outer expression, I feel like I have a toddler inside of me that gets cranky and tired and over hungry, whatever it is.
Yeah, grumpy.
Yeah. But it's also because I don't, it like you said earlier, like it becomes a dumpster, like it becomes a really loud truck if I don't listen. Like you don't need to wait to listen to yourself till the dumpster, till the thing is really far out and now you are on the floor having a tantrum. Like you can really do it like, wow, I'm overtired. Like I need a nap. Like before I do something else here, I need to take a little time for myself. And I can be the one to guide myself to that. Like I do it with my car. Like we would drive, I was driving this weekend and when it needs gas, it doesn't go, oh, I'm going to whisper. It's like this thing is blinking. We need gas. Gas. Oh, gas station, go get gas. Right. Like somehow we could learn, we are learning to listen to those, blinking things.
The signals. Yeah. I hear you describing signals, which most of us are taught to ignore. So the only sensations, everybody gets taught to learn when they need to go to the bathroom. And those signals are very simple.
They're very clear.
And our signals, our feeling signals are actually that simple. They are that clear. But when we deny them, or we try to fix them, or we blame them on somebody else, or we basically just get scared of them, then they get all kind of entangled. They get all brambled up together.
What a good image you just gave us. Like imagine if when I need to go to the bathroom for whatever I need and I didn't address it, that would be complicated. But a feeling has the same, it doesn't have a visual, externalized expression that way, at least not right away. But it is we could literally learn to do this as simply as that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how do you know you're thirsty?
Yeah, my mouth gets a little dry and I have less energy and my eyes usually get dry. That's a strong signal.
Yes. So just the question of how do I know I'm angry?
Yeah.
How do I know I'm sad? What are the signals that let me know I'm starting to get, or how do I know I'm scared? So I
Mm-hmm.
consider those the big three that really have the most impact on our lives. And then there are more secondary ones, and that you can get into. But just the question of body, tell me. Let me start getting more skilled at recognizing when I'm sad,
Yeah.
when I'm starting to get sad. And then the move that's been the most valuable for me is to imagine putting my arm around my feeling.
Mm.
Just putting my arm around and not doing anything, just putting my arm around my feeling
Mm-hmm.
and just being with,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's just for a few seconds,
Mm-hmm.
that makes a shift. That makes a real shift that then adds more, just more aliveness.
Mm-hmm.
So feelings are flow. And if I let myself feel, I just get more flow of all kinds, of energy, of impulse for creativity, of having joy in my life. It's all feelings come out of the same faucet,
Mm.
and we forget that.
When
So
you mentioned the big three, I want to
yeah,
make sure we pause just for 2 seconds
yeah,
because I wanted to make sure we capture it. So you mentioned sadness, then there's anger and fear. Those are
and
the
fear.
three kind of
Yeah, those
identified.
are the
Okay.
three. And then the ones that we add to that are joy and sexual feelings.
Uh-huh.
And other researchers, they have their own that they
Charts
add,
or
but
whatever.
in my experience, those, if I am willing to feel my feelings, I get to feel more.
Mm-hmm.
And if I say, well, I'm not going to feel angry because that's
Yeah.
not polite, and people
Mm.
won't like me if I'm angry. Well, then you
Right.
don't get to feel.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't shut down just one of the faucets. It's the same
Nope. It's the same
faucet.
faucet. And it's your life energy, by the way, that comes out of that same faucet.
Yeah.
So your
Yeah.
vitality, your sense of engagement in life. So one of the things I love about you is that your faucet's wide open.
Good faucet.
And so there's this flow that I also think is connective contagious. So that they can flow around you because you are in flow. And so it's a gift to ourselves, but it's also a tremendous gift to the people we care about.
Well, my faucet really likes your faucet. So see, we can play at fauceting each other, whatever that. I love
It's
that.
starting to sound a little racy. I love it.
I love it. Well, you did mention those feelings too.
Yes,
So there we
indeed.
have them. So maybe in closing, I loved something you mentioned earlier. I want to just bring it back, but this idea of let's start identifying what actually does it look like? Like your sad may not look like my sad.
Exactly.
My sad may start to look like I don't want to engage in life so much anymore. Or someone asks if they want to do something with me and I don't want to engage. And it's not coming from a place that's authentic necessarily, because sometimes I don't want to play. That's all right. But if I don't want to engage so that to me would be an indicator. So maybe tell us a little more about what are indicators that maybe anger is starting to creep up, or sadness, or fear, like any of them. Like how do we learn to track them when they're whispers or feathers, like you said earlier, like a
Yeah. Well, the
tickle?
first thing would be to really get willing. So even if you're scared, and even if you feel stupid, like I should know how to do this already and I don't.
Yeah.
And all of that, if you're willing to explore, that's the key. And
Okay.
that's something that I need to return to over and over again, because I might get to like, oh, this is just too complicated and it's too hard. And willing to, and then listening. So listening is giving attention to your body sensations.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what your emotions are. They are body sensations. So the body sensations that most often come with anger are a tightness in your various kinds of tightness,
Mm-hmm.
and a kind of gritchy
Yeah.
kind of feeling in your shoulders, your jaw,
Yeah.
the back of your neck.
Yeah.
So if you just picture hackles,
Mm-hmm.
when an animal, we are wired exactly the same way. When an animal gets
Scared.
angry,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the hackles.
Yes.
So your version of hackles, and it may be prickles when you first are like, there may
Yeah.
be kind of
Yeah.
sense that comes up. So for sadness, what I saw your body do when you were talking about it is your body kind of
It
collapsed.
collapses a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they just, it's like a long sigh
Yeah.
that you feel in your whole body.
Yeah.
It's most often a sense of weight,
Yeah.
heaviness
Yeah.
in your high chest, or even down as far as your heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a sense of, huh, that
Mm-hmm.
that heaviness would be a clue, a major clue.
Mm-hmm.
And then the actual technical term that from the research around fear is racy queasy.
Okay.
So those kinds of racy queasy sort of butterflies in your stomach are a very, that's a very apt descriptor of fear. And
Nice.
yeah, and that is in the front of your body. Anger's in the back of your body.
So to wrap this as so I notice, okay, so I pause and I'm like, I'm noticing my back body. I noticed that actually, as you were talking earlier, there was a little tension here.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, what did I do? I noticed it. I didn't do much, but my noticing it, giving it attention, it kind of allowed for this pause that we were talking, like a little oxygen in it.
Mm-hmm.
So then not much more. Yeah. Like we're not even.
Well, what I see here's what I my sense is that people don't realize that when you give attention, you are actually doing something physical that
Uh-huh.
has impact. So you may say, I'm just noticing. Noticing is the key. So I'm giving, because mostly we give attention out to
Yes.
and don't give attention to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the attention we do give to ourselves is often just critical. Stop
Yes.
that,
Yes.
uh, whereas if I'm giving curious attention, that's an action that's palpable.
Yeah.
I'm sure someday we'll be able to measure it. And so when you're saying my just notice, that is
Not
the
just.
it's
I'm
not just
noticing. Yeah.
I'm noticing, and that creates an opening. It's like when you're stirring, you're wanting to stir something. Like I was making a mix of some foods in my yogurt today, and I
Yeah.
put in something and I put in something else, and when it was all there was just a big glob of stuff.
Yeah. Huh.
When I started stirring it, then it started blending and catalyzing, and different things started showing up, and the flavors started showing up. And it's, I think, the same thing with giving attention to our feelings, is that we begin to stir the energy, and it has real results that will give you more aliveness and more loving contact with yourself.
I love this visual of this big blob of food that means not much. And then somehow the allowing and the stirring and it creates the energy that somehow it becomes something else. Like it transcends itself almost.
It catalyzes, and it literally becomes something else that has value. I guess
Mm-hmm.
the thing I really want everybody to know is your feelings have value,
Mm-hmm.
and your feelings has great value. And I'd love for everybody to let themselves explore, to really know that for themselves.
Mm. Well, you heard it here, maybe not first, but you certainly, this was a beautiful, delicious way to talk about it. And our invitation is go do that, go stir, go feel, go
Go
allow
stir,
all
go
of it.
field,
And
yes. Because
yeah.
then you get choice.
Mm-hmm.
You're not driven by what you haven't experienced and expressed. You have open choice, and that is a delicious experience.
I was going to say it's so delicious, so perfectly. Thank you again.
Delicious. Remember,
Oh,
we
yeah,
were
yeah,
talking
yes.
about eating?
The real delicious.
The real delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be a great title. The real delicious.
Oh, I love that. Oh, wow. Well, thank you for this beautiful conversation, Katie, again. And wow, I'm going to go. I felt all these feelings as we were talking. I want to, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your body, your whole body intelligence.